Hey everybody, so I want to share a few stories. I've been wanting to do this for a long time. I think the stories and experiences I've had are unique, so I want to share them. And it's hard to find time, so I'm doing it in my car. So today I want to share some stories about, I guess you could call it missionary service or missionary stories. So the first one I want to share is the missionary voodoo story. I think this one's hilarious, but it actually really illustrates some important points about how you deal with people and how you kind of nourish the seed and help it grow within people. So we had this tenant that was living in one of our apartments that ended up moving and then owed some money, and there were some damages, and so my wife was pretty much on her case about getting rent in and making monthly payments. And so she was always late when she lived at the place. Nice enough girl, in her early 30s maybe, skinny, American, cute, whatever. And so my wife kept asking, and it's like, I don't understand. Why do you keep having problems with rent? I understand you can have problems, in life for a month, 2 months, 6 months maybe, but it's been like 3 years since we've known this girl, and about a year since she moved out and was always having trouble making $100 or $200 a month payments. Essentially, my wife had been telling her from time to time basically this: look, I'm Latina, my wife's from Brazil. I'm Latina. I came here with nothing. My parents had nothing. I had nothing in Brazil. I had even less when I came to the US. I figured out how to make it work. And I can't barely speak your language. I'm not cute like you. I'm not young like you. And I'm not American like you. I don't have the opportunities you have, yet I made it. What is the problem? I don't understand why you have a problem. You shouldn't have a problem. So my wife would tell her this from time to time as she can't make payments of a few $100s here or there to make true on the damages and rent thing that she owed. So the relationship was bad. Like, my wife is always on her case. My wife's always going to collect the money. We had a contract. And she's a bit of a pit bull. She's Brazilian, so they don't, let's just say, they're very loud and emotional people. And so this previous tenant, well, I think it's safe to say she hated my wife. My wife would drive her nuts. And then, so it's been about a year, and my wife calls her up because she couldn't make the payment again, and my wife said, look, I don't understand. And the tenant says, I know what you're going to say. You're Latin. I'm American. I should be able to do something in life. My wife said, yeah, I've already told you that. I don't think you're a bad person. She's like, maybe there's two different things going on. One of two things is going on. The first thing, maybe you're just lying to me. You don't really want to pay. You're just lying and trying to see how much you can get away with. My wife said, I really don't care if you're lying to me or not. Either way, I'm going to process you. Either way, if you want me to go to court, I'll go to court. I really don't care. If I have to argue with you, if I have to argue with the judge, I don't care. Like, it makes no difference to me. If you're lying to me, I don't care. Or there's something bigger going on, and honestly, I think you have a spiritual problem, because you can't keep a guy, you can't keep relationships, you can't keep your apartments, you can't keep your jobs, you can't make rent, and it's been years. You're healthy, you're young, you're beautiful. There's no reason for it. You're American, you have all your papers, you can earn money, you can get whatever job you want, you can get whatever education you want. My wife is like, I don't understand what the problem is. So she's like, I think I figured it out. If you're not lying, then it's something spiritual. She's like, I think that you have a spiritual problem. That's the only thing that I can understand that makes sense. And something you need to understand is in Brazil, it's very different from here. They have like voodoo, they call it macumba, whatever you call it. And so this is something my wife was like actually freaked out about and legitimately scared of from Brazil. I guess she'd seen some crazy stuff down there. It's not really a thing we have in the US that I know of. And so she said, I think you have a spiritual problem. Maybe you have voodoo. Someone did voodoo on you. And so I heard this story. I started laughing. Like, that's the funniest thing I've ever heard. My wife's like, I'm serious. I think she has voodoo. There's no reason why this girl can't make money. And everything in her life is a disaster. And so she ends up, about a week passes, and then this previous tenant texts my wife and says, hey, look, I can't stop thinking about what you said about the voodoo. I think you're right. My life is cursed or something. And she said, I started to pray for the first time in my life. And she's like, I don't know, 35 or something. My wife said, holy cow, for 35 years, you never once prayed, ever. You never once thought, maybe this is real? My wife said, you need to find a good church and you need to get your spirit right. And so the tenant asks, well, do you know of a church? And we're from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. My wife said, yeah, I know a church. We just have good ones there, though. So it's a high standard. But if you think you're ready to do it, I know you're not a dirtbag, so, I'll give you a contact and you can go there. My wife doesn't like horrible people at church, I guess. Whatever, different strokes for different folks. So she contacts us, hey, our missionaries can come out, they can give you a blessing, help you out there. Maybe if you have a voodoo, then they can give you a blessing and kind of counterbalance that or something. And so the tenant responds by saying, well, why didn't you tell me about your church sooner? This is fantastic. And my wife said, well, I didn't know if you were a good one or not. Now I know that you're not a bad person. You just have a spiritual problem here. I need to be careful with who I do and don't tell about what's precious to me or something like this. That's just kind of how my wife is. So it's kind of interesting that even though there was a deterioration of the relationship and things had gone horribly wrong between us financially with this tenant and personally, like, she really did not like my wife. I kind of was out of the situation. My wife manages that piece of it. So there was something horribly wrong, and somehow my wife was able to sort through that and hit the nail on the head that she really had a spiritual problem. And so I kind of thought a lot about that, like the fact that she was able to be strong on agreements we had, yet still be open to say, like, look, here's what your issue is, you need to fix it. And be honest with people, no matter what they think about it. So that's my missionary story for the day. Apparently she went to church on Sunday. I haven't really followed up on it. It's like Tuesday today. But she lives out of town, so I don't know if she went or not. So anyway, that's the first story. I want to share more of these as time goes on and see kind of the response, see what people think. I have a hard time finding cool missionary stories on video vlogs, so I want to start sharing mine, and maybe some other people can join in. I'd like to see your comments.